So,
hello everyone.
Yeah, hello. We'll make a start now. We probably have some people joining us, but that's all right. So I'm Sandy Mays. This is my husband, Mike. Um, we're both mediums and healers, and we are based in the UK, where incidentally today it is very cold. Most of it is covered in snow. Where we are, we're not quite so bad, but it's pretty cold. So we were both, yeah, we put a sweater on now, you're all right. So we were trained at a college called the Arthur Findlay College, which specializes in mediumship and healing. I said we are both mediums and healers. We're also life therapists. In the UK, we have run a retreat center, we've run workshops, classes, done public demonstrations. And I do this in the past tense because since COVID, it's all been a bit different, as you will know. We've been to Australia pre-COVID. We worked there 12 times for periods of 4 to 6 weeks. And we've also worked in France. Since COVID, we have been working online for Illuminations, doing our treatment. So mine, I offer readings, which are a combination of psychic and spirit, and deal with people's past, present, future potential, and life purpose. And we also run mediumship development courses at foundation level and advanced level, 6 weeks each. And for those that want it, they can go on and do teacher training. So that's sort of areas we're both involved in, but I'll let Mike tell you about his healing modality.
Yeah, and I do deep energy healing, which is the deepest form of healing you can get. I'm right down into the delta state, so that raises my vibrations very, very high, so I can tap into the universal energies and the spirit energies and allow my body to be a conduit to do the healing for you. So it's very powerful. And while I'm going up and down in that state, I am aware of where the healing's going. And so it gives me different places that it's going. So I then can actually give that to you afterwards, where the healing's going, where the blockages are in you, and also give you enough advice as to where and how you can manage it yourself once you've finished the healing session. So basically, you're empowering yourself. And that's where we need to go. Yeah.
Right, the background on us, but today we're here to present a webinar to you called Working with and Controlling the Power of Your Energy. Now, when we do webinars, we do value and welcome interaction with our audience. It's better for everybody. I mean, we're quite, we'll just talk to you and carry on our way through, but it really, we find, does work better if people interact. So there will be plenty of opportunities for questions, and we do like to hear your voices if that's possible, but if you really don't want to, then at least use the chat box. Remember that questions asked and answered, and don't be shy, it's okay. And probably the question you ask is the one everybody was thinking, oh, I wish I'd asked that one. So it's fine. But let's just talk about energy then. We're both energy workers. In my mediumship, I work with energy and reading people's energy, sensing people's energy, controlling my own energy in order to do that. And Mike does the same with his deep energy healing. He is entirely working with sensing energy and, again, controlling his own energy. And both of us in those appointments help our clients to learn how to control theirs. So we're going to give you an overview today of the energy field and the chakras, the control centers. But obviously in the time available and with a group, we can't go into as much detail as we would. For example, if you came to me for a reading and I read your energy, I would be showing you how to control it, etc. And the same with Mike's healing. So energy, how does that relate to human beings? Well, our energy field is connected to our physical body by our chakras, which are the main control centers responsible for the integration of the workings of our energy field, our physical bodies, and our minds. We need to fully understand this system in order to control its immense power. Otherwise, it will control us and we become victims. And we need to be able to use it efficiently and effectively in our lives. And that's what we're really hoping to allow you to tap into today.
Good. So this webinar will put you in a position to take that control for yourselves, basically. So we all have an energy field, yeah? Okay. But what exactly is it? What does it contain? What are the functions of your energy field? How is it integrated with our bodies and our minds? Can we control it?
So a series of questions, and we're hoping to provide answers to those questions while we're talking to you. So the energy field, and what is it? Let's look at a couple of illustrations. So let's look at this first one here. Is that up for them? Can they see that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is a picture of Mike and his energy field. It was taken with an aura camera on a laptop. And if you look, you'll see him in the middle, but you'll also see a sort of slightly egg-shaped light around him. And that is his energy field. The photography of the energy field, or the aura as it used to be called, sometimes still is, was perfected by a Russian called Kirlian. And there was a Kirlian camera invented. Now, of course, it's more sophisticated, it's on laptops, it's doing all kinds of things. But we just show this as evidence, scientific evidence of the existence of the energy field. So if we could go on to the next slide, and if we want to talk about this one.
So the next slide is, let me do it, there you go. And there we have our energy fields here. And again, you can see here, there's different layers of energy fields, which we can talk about later. It's not too important at the time. Lots of different layers of the energy field, but there it is inside this human being here. And there are your seven major chakra points there in there.
And incidentally, they are the colors of the rainbow.
Yeah.
Starting at the base with red and working all the way to the crown with violet. And 7 is a color, a number that occurs a lot of times in our world, 7 days of the week, 7 colors of the rainbow, etc., etc. It's quite a magical number. But that's just something so that you can look at that. And we'll just leave that on the screen for a moment while I talk a little bit more about the energy field. It consists of vibrations, energetic vibrations. These can be measured. And they are variable. We do not stay the same. We are altered by things that go on around us. So our energy field is constantly changing. It is made up of different colors, but those are visible to some people. Some people specialize in analyzing the colors in the energy field and doing readings from them. I personally don't, but there are those that do, and it can be quite interesting. But they are variable as well. And color is also a vibration. So what happens in your life will affect the vibrations of your energy field and therefore the colors of your energy field. Energy fields have different degrees of sensitivity. So I come across in my readings people who are highly sensitive, highly sensitive. And that can cause problems. It is actually the best way to be. But because most people are not highly sensitive, in childhood, often people who are sensitive have unfortunate experiences. People don't understand them. They're slightly different to everyone else. And this is the sensitivity of the energy field, which is picking up on all kinds of things around that child. In education, the problems can continue where teachers expect all children to fit into the same boxes, while the sensitivity of the energy field will dictate that some can and some can't. The senses themselves, our seeing, our hearing, our touching, our smelling, our tasting, our intuition, they are also variable according to how our energy is. Because of sensitivity, some of us will put up barriers and hide it. We will put up defenses because we can be easily hurt and easily affected by what goes on around us. So we can be viewed as defensive. And in that process of defending ourselves, we can desensitize ourselves as well, so that we don't show what we're feeling. We hide it, and we stop having that wonderful sensitive experience of life. And if we have a sensitive energy field, it can be easily damaged by life. So do you want to pick up on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this goes with childhood as well, and everything that happens in our lives. For example, well, there's lots of examples which we'll give you some in a moment. When most of us as a child pick this up, we are sensitive, and we end up sort of either shying away from certain things or holding our emotions in, or whatever we do. It has a big effect on our life now, and again, we bring that with us now, and it has a massive effect on our life. So let's look at the contents and the records of our lives, if you like, in the energy field. I mean, people have a massive effect on our energy fields and on our lives. They can be uplifting or depressing, for example. A lot of people that can make our energy feel really uplifted. If you talk to someone that you really get on well with and you really like and you really enjoy, it uplifts us, makes us feel nice, and that's great. The same can happen with something that is somebody who's depressing to you, if you like, or they're always moaning, or their cup's always half empty, and that can have a massive effect on your energy field as well. Events as above, so anything that might happen to you, an event that might happen, it can be good, it could be bad, and it has a massive effect on us, obviously. Impressions, so thoughts is really, really good, because we all have thoughts. Some of the thoughts are negatives and some are positives, but in a lot of cases for us as human beings, we tend to think of the negative rather than the positive. So many times we hear things and see things and we go, oh, that's depressing, that's not very nice, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, we need to think, well, actually, let's try and reverse that slightly. Let's try and think of a positive side to that. So again, it's going to make our energy feel. Again, characteristics of all this is mental, emotional, and spiritual. So mental side of it, as in, you know, how our minds are working and everything else. The emotional side of it, the emotional side of energy is massive. It has massive effects on our emotions, how we feel from one minute to the next, how we react to different emotions. Spiritual, and that's all part of our energy field. So we've got the past, the present, and the future potential all within that. So our past, that has a big effect on our energy field. Our present, everyday life now, has a massive effect on our energy field. And future potential, because the future potential is always there, and it is potential because you can change it whenever you want to. But future potential is very, very important as well. Life purpose. We have our life purposes. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm sort of picking up on that, because that always comes up when I read for people. When I read somebody's energy field, I'm sensing it, and I always find the life purpose of my client, of the person I'm reading. Because in your energy field are your natural talents and abilities, so that little nuggets of software that I find, and it tells me those natural talents and abilities you've been given tell me what your life purpose is. So we all have that, and it's all logged in the energy. And that's what I'm reading, and that's what I would tell you in a reading. So some of you think, well, why am I on this planet? Doesn't seem much point. Actually, there is. You are here for a reason. The problem is we tend to forget when we're born, and we have to sort of pick it up again. So our energy field is constantly changing, all the time, constantly changing. I could read a person one day and say certain things. They come to me the next day, which I don't encourage, incidentally, but if they did, it would be different. And our students on the mediumship development courses say, oh, well, I read her last week. I say, yeah, but 7 days has passed. since you last read her. She's going to be different. And sure enough, they will find changes. So what causes those changes? So let's just perhaps, yeah, see, I think we've seen it. I think they've got that. They've got that impression of that one. So what causes the changes? Let's give you some examples. Communication from other people can cause the changes. So one phone call, something somebody says to you, it can change everything. Our senses, the input from our eyes, our ears, tasting something, smelling something, feeling something, that can cause changes in the energy field. Mobile phones, now there's a big one in today's world. I mean, not many people don't have one permanently attached to the end of their arm for most of their waking life. And I'm not condemning it, but there's a massive input from that. And it, just as a side note, that's actually secondhand information. You really need to spend part of your lives experiencing things firsthand in order to get the best experience. But your senses are going to make a change to how you feel. Communication on that mobile phone that you've got attached to the end of your arm. Watching TV. So looking things up on the internet. And that can be a bit addictive, can't it? We sort of think, oh, I'll just look at that and I'll just look at that. And I'm amazed at the number of answers there are on the internet, but I can't let them all in to my experience because I don't want it all logged in my energy field. I only want things that are relevant to me. Now, just going back to TV for a minute, pre-COVID, we never watched the news because it was so depressing and it didn't seem to relate to us. Now, I'm sure you're all aware, the UK is in a big lockdown. So we are watching the news 5 nights a week, merely to see how each of the different tiers or areas are getting on. It is not something we would normally do, and we don't find it has a good effect on our energy. It takes it down, it drains it. But at the moment we have a need to know going on, so we kind of have to do it. Although last night we did turn it off after a while because it was just
same old.
too much. Movies. You can choose a movie to watch and you think it's going to be this or that, but actually it can be, for me, I can't watch violence, I can't listen to violence, it's just too much, and I can't have things that are too loud. So if any of those things are going on in my personal environment, sometimes I have to leave the room because I can feel it taking my energy down or distorting my energy. So then we've got some examples of changes that can go on in our energy fields that have an effect on us.
That's right. And are we aware of the changes? That's the big thing. Are we really aware of it? In a lot of cases, we're not aware. We're not aware of how and things that changes. And people or whatever changes us, we're not normally aware of it. We just run along with it almost. So like it just becomes part of the norm.
We kind of deal with it, don't we?
We do, yeah. It becomes part of the norm. And is it possible to control the changes? Absolutely, 100%. You're your master, if you like, of your own energy and your own destiny. If you wish to change anything, you can.
It's like me walking out of the room during a movie.
Right, yes, you don't like it, so don't like the violence, so or whatever it is. I mean, I don't watch that sort of things either, mate. But sometimes they just come on all of a sudden, you know, and you're not aware, you're not expecting it. That's right, you're not expecting it. Sometimes we watched, I don't know, romantic films, and you think, oh, nothing can go wrong with a romantic film. It's really nice, you know. It's going to be a happy ending. Everything's fine. But there's a violent scene, and it's not very nice. So turn the sound right down, turn it off, walk out, whatever we do. We have the choice, right, to change. And this is all down to awareness, our perception of things. So if you become, when you become, not if, because I know you guys are going to do it, when you become more aware of your surroundings and your senses and what changes and what doesn't resonate with you in your life, if you like, you can then start to change and change whatever you want to do and be whatever you want to be, because you're aware of what's happening. So it's your choice now to change it.
And put yourself in control.
Absolutely.
So how can we make ourselves aware of these changes? Well, in order to do that, you have to be aware of yourself and how you are. So in day-to-day life in the modern world, people go around saying, how are you? And people go, I'm good, I'm fine. So it's not a proper answer, really. It's just social chit-chat. But I put a question to all of you. How often do you ask yourselves, how am I? It's a very valuable question to ask because we tend to focus out, not in. We focus out into our energy and beyond it, rather than into the center of our energy, into the center of us. So I'm going to just give you 3 questions, which asking yourself these 3 questions will give you much more awareness of how you are and what changes it. So the first question for you is, how am I feeling physically? Just check yourself over. How is your body? How are you feeling physically? And the next one is, how are you feeling mentally? How is your mind? Is it chaotic and all over the place, leaping like a butterfly from one thing to another? Or is it calm and focused and doing what you want it to do? Who's in charge, you or your mind? And then, how am I feeling emotionally? How are my emotions? Now, if you ask yourself those 3 questions and answer them, you will come up with a picture of yourself, which is how you are at that moment in time. And then you need to start noticing what or who changes that. So at that point, we're going to just stop and see if you have got any questions, because we kind of like you to have some questions. So come along. Is it?
So yeah, any questions, you can put them in a chat box, or you can talk to us if you like.
Yeah, put your sound on and just say your question. You don't have to put your camera on.
No, exactly.
But you know, we really want to add to the value of this webinar by answering individual questions for individual people, which you are. So do we have any questions? So no. Oh, I don't know. I think Sonia might have put her sound on. Sonia, do you have a question?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I can. Yes, we can, and we're very pleased to hear you.
Can you hear?
Oh, there's a human being out there. That's very good.
You can hear us. You can hear
okay. Hello. So I'm really enjoying your talk, and so today, are you going to be talking about energy, or are you going to be talking about anything else also?
Well, the whole topic is working with and controlling the power of your energy. We could talk about many, many things, but we are sort of duty bound to follow the title of the webinar.
What was you thinking of?
What were you thinking of, Sonia?
Well, you know, you mentioned life's purpose, and this is, again, I don't want to divert into something personal here. So, but that is a question I struggle with, and maybe later on, if we could connect and we could talk about this issue.
Right. We can't do it in this webinar. We have a big content to get through, which we time quite strictly. But I'm not putting you off. What you best do, Sonia, is book a free experiential session with me through Illuminations.
Sure, I'm going to do that. Yes, that's what I meant. I don't want to disturb you today in your webinar.
And what normally a 20-minute session will lead into is a full hour session with me, during which I would find your life purpose. So obviously I need time to get right into the energy field and work out what I'm getting. So a 20-minute experiential to start with. And if you like that content, then book a full reading with me through Illuminations.
Perfectly fine. I get you. Thank you so much.
That's all right. Does anybody else have any questions?
If you've got any questions about anything really like that, then that's okay.
No,
see someone's just come on.
Right. Welcome, Donna. It's all right. We've just come to the end of the first section, so the next section will sort of start afresh. But we're just sort of asking the others if they've got any questions, but I can't see any other microphones going off.
Nope.
Anything in the chat box?
Nope.
So I'm just going to bring up a question that some people ask, I have asked at previous webinars, is in an energy field, what does the different colors mean? When a photograph is taken like we showed you, what do the different colors mean? So my answer to that is always, that is a completely different science. It's quite complicated, complex. In my work with readings, I choose not to do that because I've focused on feeling energy, sensing energy. But there are people out there who will do a reading of colors of the energy field and explain to you what those signify. But I can tell you one, just as an example, if somebody is recently bereaved, then their energy field will contain a lot of gray, because gray is the energy of bereavement and loss and sadness. So it just puts that gray into the energy field. That picture we showed you of Mike earlier on, it had a lot of gold and green in it. That represents his connection with the universe, the spirit world, and his healing work. So he has a lot of that in there because that's what he does. So that's just a couple of examples.
Yeah.
So if there's no questions from anybody else, we're going to move on to the other question about energy fields, which we put at the beginning, the functions of the energy fields. So what are they? What is it supposed to do? Well, the energy field, unsurprisingly, provides energy to the body to enable the physical body to function efficiently. Because of energy, so our bodies need energy to carry out their normal functions. The energy field also absorbs and carries emotions, because feelings, thoughts are energy. So again, it's contained in the energy field. Your energy field will sense emotion and the energy of other people around you and maybe places. Do you know that feeling? You know, when you first meet someone, you're introduced, and quite quickly you gain an impression of that person, how you feel about them. You want to talk to them, you don't want to talk to them. Or maybe you're house hunting, you go into an apartment and you think, oh, this is so lovely. I love the feel of this place. Or you think, no, I couldn't live here. This is no good for me. That is your energy field, absorbing energy from other sources and giving you an impression. Now, it's this process that enables me to read people in a reading. I'm sensing the energy and what's the effect of environments, your home, the places you're in, can have an effect. Then the energy field is going to record that and analyze it in order to warn you when you're not comfortable. So an example of that is, I'm not comfortable in shopping malls. Very short period of time. I'll go in for a reason. I'm not going to spend hours in there because very, very quickly I'm going to feel uncomfortable. The energy of that place, the busyness, the sharpness of, and all those energies around is too much for my sensitive energy. So I'm out of there. But some of you might be different because all our energy fields are individual. So these are some of the functions of an energy field. This is helping you to understand what's going on with your energy.
There is a question in the chat box, but we will get back to it in a little bit, Donna, if that's okay, because there'll be more time for questions in a minute. I'll get straight to you. Okay. So some men might actually think that it's good that the lady doesn't feel comfortable in a shopping mall, you know, save a bit of money there. But obviously I'm not one of them because I don't feel comfortable in a shopping mall anyway. So let's have a look at the integration, if you like, of the energy. The energy field is fastened to the physical body at 7 major main control centers called chakras. Okay, I expect you've all heard of them, but we'll talk about it. Each of these are directly linked to the nervous system. So you've got your chakra there. And it's carrying energetic impulses, right, through the body and the nervous system, up through the nervous system and up to the brain. Right? And I'm going to show you, and it creates emotions. And I'm going to show you a little slide on that one. So we've just shown the last slide. So everyone's obviously now familiar with that energy field and those chakras.
Yes, I think they've looked at that one long enough.
And here we have what we've censored here, which is
right. So what you're seeing here is the human body and the positioning of the energy centers in that body. So you can see the colors starting with the violet at the top, running through to the red at the base. But more importantly, for the purposes of this part of the webinar, look where the nervous system is. Look at those groups of nerves linked
behind
in
everyone
to those chakras. So anything that comes in through your energy field goes into your chakras, into your nervous system, and is transmitted up to your brain. So this is really powerful, because this has an enormous effect on us, just enormous. And for us, one of the sad things about the Western world, the modern Western world, is that most of the medical practitioners don't acknowledge this. Now, if you talk to a Chinese doctor, this is what they go on, because each of those chakras is connected in and has an effect to the physical body. So if we could have the list of chakras up, that would be good.
Okay.
So I'm sure I'm preaching to the converted here, but I'm going to go through it anyway. So we're starting with the base chakra, which is red. We're moving up to the sacral. So the base, by the way, is about the bottom of the level with the bottom of the spine. The sacral is between there and probably your tummy button, and that's orange. Solar plexus, right in the center of you where you get those sort of collywobbles, those butterflies, that's yellow. Up to your heart center, and that's not your physical heart, it's your energy control center, green. Up to your throat chakra, which is sky blue. And up to your third eye, which is indigo. And then on up to the crown, which is purple. Now, chakras are, for any of you who've looked at it, you'll know this, are an enormous and complex subject. It's vast. There are many, many books written on it from many different angles. And I'm not here to tell you, or even attempt to tell you all about it, because I don't know all about it. I know a fair amount. But just for the purpose of illustration now, I'm going to talk about two of them. I'm going to talk about the base. Now, the base chakra has as its main characteristic, if you like, it's to do with your tribal roots. It's to do with your origins. It's to do with your family. And it's all about that time in your life when your likes and dislikes, your experiences are rather governed by the adults around you. That's how you learn. And that's that phase of your life. But then, really ideally, people should be moving up to the sacral, which is orange, which is all about you finding out what you like and you don't like. It's more empowering. It's about you, and is you not severing the links with the tribe, the family, but actually moving away from it a bit and saying, yeah, well, I remember what you said, but actually I don't feel like that. I feel like this. So it's like your evolution. It's like your development. And that's what the personal feelings, personal likes, personal dislikes, hopefully not too influenced by what the tribe said or what culture says or what religion says. You're coming into life, you're experiencing it, you're making your own choices. So that's those two chakras there, and that's what they're kind of in charge of. But if I move up to the throat, this is a common one to have a blockage in. Every chakra has two jobs. One's energetic, one is physical. The physical job of the throat chakra is to look after ears, nose, throat, mouth, teeth, sinuses, adrenals, what else are we going to say here? Thyroid, a bit of breathing, all of that is looked after by the throat chakra. But that chakra's other job is to get you to fully express your feelings, not your opinions, your feelings. And when you are filtering those or blocking those, you're holding it in your body as a stagnant mass of energy, because feelings are energy, and the chakra doesn't like it because its job is to get that flowing. So it's going to put all its effort into getting that flow of emotions going, because it knows that the energy field's the most important thing, because that controls the body. So that chakra will neglect its physical protection job. So people in that position will probably have weaknesses in ears, nose, throat, thyroid, etc., which would be improved, alleviated, if they could just learn to fully express themselves. So that's kind of a whistle-stop tour, if you like, just to give you a little flavor of the power of the chakras. And if we can know, the more you discover about them, the more you can appreciate their work and help them to do that work, because they've got a pretty tough job in today's world. It does result in those chakras, they're all integrated, they're synchronized, they need to be balanced. And of course, modern life just kicks them all out of balance.
So just, so we just have a look at the balances and imbalances, if you like, of these chakras. As Sandy said, modern day life, everything happens, comes into your energy field, makes your energy field shrink and unbalances, if you like, the chakras. And that's where the energy healing comes into its fruition, if you like. It repairs the energy field and rebalances the chakras. Okay, everyone could do with some healing sometimes in their life. I mean, obviously it depends where you are and what your situations are as to how much healing you have, but realistically, one phone call, one funny experience, one whatever it is, whether it be health wise or somebody else getting into your energy field, it can unbalance those chakras very quickly and shrink your energy field. So healing is the best thing. Energy healing is the best thing to repair that, rebalance and rejuvenate. So I recommend everyone has some sort of healing as often as they can, or recently.
Well, you often say it's like having a car service.
Yeah, it is. There are a lot of forms of healing around. Reiki, one of the oldest, and really lovely healing. But Reiki is a bit like having a excuse me, a major service. Sorry, a minor service, interim service done on your car. You know, you can have, a lot of people have Reiki once every couple of months, once every few weeks, whatever, and it's absolutely fine. Deep energy healing, as I do, and other forms of healing like that, are actually like having a major service on your car. So, you know, once every 6 months, once a year or whatever, because when, say, like, for example, I do the healing, when I come out of this healing and I talk to you about where the energy's gone, I give you the wherewithal, if you like, and the knowledge to be able to repair it and rebalance it yourself when you leave. So you probably only need it once a year, because you can do the little top-ups and a little bit of help for yourself throughout the year. So it's very important, his healing to all of us. As you can imagine, certainly at the moment, healing the world is wonderful, you know, and healing each other is wonderful. So it starts with us.
Because I mean, if we bring COVID into this slightly, it's not just about the COVID itself, which is really awful, but the effect on the people around whose family are affected by it, the effect on people who are locked down, the damage to energy fields, the whole energy system by this repression, this confinement is huge. I mean, in the UK, we have huge mental health problems building up because people are just feeling suffocated and shut in. So there's a lot of energy healing, energy work to be done. And it all boils down on, from your point of view, to awareness and just be aware of how you feel, aware of what's changing how you feel. Give yourself that power. So we're going to stop for questions just briefly. So we had chat box.
One from Donna said, how best to protect from negative vibes energy? How best to protect? Yes, of course.
Want me to do that one, or you
do it?
Okay. So it depends where they're coming from. But if this is coming from somebody who is regularly in your life, you can protect yourself by repelling the negative energy, by pushing positive energy. So in your mind, for every negative thought that arises, you make it into a positive one, and you imagine pushing it out through your energy field back at the person that was doing the negative thing to you. Now, in fact, in the last section, we're going to be talking a little bit about this in more detail. So we will come back to this. I'm not evading it, but you need to consciously think about your energy repelling the negativity. And some of the illustration we're going to show next after this question time will help with that. So did we have another chat box question or not?
From Bono one, yes.
Was that Donna's question?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, it was.
So that's,
all right. So has anybody else got any questions at this point? So don't be shy.
Illuminations can ask as well.
Well, I don't, if you're absolutely clear, when we give out the exam papers at the end, you're going to get 100%, aren't you? Because you're just going to understand it fully. But no, that's all right. It's nice if people ask questions, but if you haven't got any, that's equally fine. So one of the ones we're sometimes asked at this point is, how can we best care for our chakras? How can we look after them ourselves, sort of in between healing or whatever? Well, you can give yourself healing by placing your hands on your body, one in the middle of the chest area, one in the solar plexus, stomach area. Shut your eyes, relax, and ask the universe, whatever power you believe to be greater than you, to allow the healing energies to flow through you, for you. You should try it. So you can do that, but you can also make sure that you get regularly in your daily life periods of just sitting and being. And I'm not talking meditation here. I'm just talking about sitting in your chair and just being aware of what your senses are giving you. Or going for a walk on the beach and just being aware of what's coming at you. Don't think, just sense. And that in itself is a rest for the chakras. It's just a bit like giving them a spa day, if you like. But just think about being kind to yourself, and that really will help your chakras as well. So if we're sure there's no more questions from our audience, then control, not a word I like, but nevertheless, we need to exercise it sometimes.
So what control do we have over our energy field and our chakras? Awareness and control of who and what's affecting our energy, our feelings, our body and our mind. So basically be aware of who or what's affecting you. It could be, again, if you meet someone for the first time, you instantly know whether you like them, don't like them, or there's something not quite right. You get feelings about all sorts from buildings or whatever it is. But be aware of what or who controls it. You can, I'll put up a little screen here, another little screen, but you can do this for yourself. You can actually say to yourself, well, so-and-so's affecting me, this is affecting me.
That's not
so,
the right
I know,
one.
this is the last one again.
Where is it?
It's coming up.
There you
go. There you go. So imagine this, look, here we have, okay, so here we have person number one, if you like. They are in the midst of an energy field with the 7 major chakras here. Here we have person 2.
Oh, do you want me to explain the blue line? Because that was my idea.
Yeah.
I've put the blue line in there connecting all the chakras, because the chakras are all connected and they do build a pile and they support each other from bottom to top. So it's, and they support through that tower, if you like, they support us.
That's right. So person 2 is in the energy field there with the 7 major chakras, if you like. So look what's happening here. These 2 people are quite close together, if you like. They've got in close proximity. If you may, when you meet somebody or you see somebody or party or whatever it is, however it is. But your energy field is actually blending with the energy field here. And on this blend of energy there in the middle, that's where those crosses are there. In that blend of energy, right, there is a blend, and you're picking up things from this person, and this person's picking up things from you. So say you're picking up something from this energy field, you like it, you don't like it, you're picking up that sense, it's coming through your energy field, through that blend, up through the chakras, up through the nervous system, up to the brain, and then you get an impression. It's as simple as that. That's how it works. And we're doing this every single moment of every single day. We're picking up energy from, I don't know, going for a walk, when you meet someone, hello, whatever it is, or just plants or whatever it is. You're picking up an energy and you're picking up a feeling, and it's going through the senses, and through your chakra system and up to the brain, and then the brain sorts it out and says what this message is. You like it, you don't like it. Oh, that's really pretty, that's not nice. A building, you know, a beach, anything.
But this is where the initial impressions of people and places that I referred to earlier on, this is how it happens. This is how you're picking it up, because we can't live life in splendid isolation. We're always moving in the proximity of other human beings. And this is where that expression, you're in my space, you get that feeling somebody's too in your space. They're not touching you physically, but they are touching you energetically.
Yeah, you feel.
And if their energy field isn't compatible with yours, doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. It just means they're not your kind of person. You're going to feel uncomfortable. And you're going to think, oh, no, I don't want to be too close to you. You're not sure why, but this is teaching you why. And this is what your chakras are doing for you. It's feeding you the information about what's in the energy around you. It's sensing all the time, and it's feeding it into you. So you are aware of the impressions. And this is what I call, from my professional point of view, this is your subconscious psychic reading. Because every human being on the planet can do what I do. They can be medium, they can read people, they can read spirit, they can do all that kind of thing. I do it consciously. You all do it subconsciously, or some of you might do it consciously, but I'm not aware of what you do. So, but most people on the planet are doing it subconsciously. It just happens. I would recommend you perhaps pick up a few of my habits and start doing it more consciously. How does that person make me feel? Why do I feel like this now? I'm not suggesting you go around reading people in the supermarket queue. It's not a good idea. But just be a little bit more aware of the energy around you. So in Dubai, I mean, we've never actually physically been there, but we are aware it's very built up and artificial in its structure. So the energy of that place will be very different to where we live. We're very isolated in the country here. We live in a tiny village, and in fact, there's not many people living physically near us in our cottage. So it's the energy is very pure, it's very natural, it's all farmland and coast and sea. It's going to be very different to where you are. So if you came here, you were where we are, you would immediately notice a difference, as we would notice it if we came physically to Dubai. We'd be like, oh my goodness, this is different. This is very fast. This is a bit overwhelming. No, you might come here and think, oh, this is very quiet. This is a bit threatening. You see what I mean? It's just everybody's different, but it is the energy field and the chakras that are giving us all of this. So I hope you're beginning to get an impression of the importance of these things, and by making choices, you can choose, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I think Mike wants to talk a bit about, and it's not COVID he's going to talk about, but about infections.
Infections, theft, sensory input. It can get infected. Your energy field obviously gets infected by other people's moods or whatever it is. It's theft, really. People shouldn't be doing it. It's not energy thieves, we call them, like vampire energy vampires. They're draining you. You know, sometimes say you meet, I don't know, somebody, your friend or whatever, for a coffee, and they do nothing but talk at you, you know, and you're listening or whatever you do. And afterwards they say, oh, thank you very much. It was really lovely to meet you. You know what? You make me feel so good, so uplifting. And you yourself are drained, completely drained. You think, where did that lot come from? You know, it drains you, doesn't it? See, that's called energy thieving, and they do it. And we need to be able to protect ourselves against that. Again, we'll talk about it in a bit. But it's about being aware of these sort of people and how they are affecting you.
Or infecting you.
Or infecting you. And you can change it. You can say to yourself, well, maybe I won't see that person next week. I'll wait another month when I'm feeling a bit better myself, because we need to look after ourselves. You know, that's the most important part of it.
Yeah, this can change all the time. People that we've perhaps spent years being absolutely fine with, loving their company, spending time, but either their energy's changed or ours has changed due to life circumstances. And all of a sudden, we're not compatible. Please don't feel bad about that. No. Make your decisions based on how you feel. I mean, I have a friend that I met when I was 8, and I've known her husband since I was 5. And for years and years and years, we spent time together, we brought up our families together, and then all of a sudden, as I changed and became more involved in energetic, spiritual things, I no longer enjoyed their company. And eventually, I couldn't even stay overnight in their house. I was too uncomfortable in that energy. So that's natural. It's fine. I changed, they hadn't, it wasn't compatible anymore. So I just chose not to spend so much time with them. I bear them no malice, they're lovely people, but they're not for me anymore. And that's okay. So,
but then other people are, aren't they?
Yeah,
so
but then you get different people
whose energy feels just a bit more compatible to ours. So, you know, so that's great. That's what we can do.
I just wanted to say, as we're coming to the end now, I just wanted to say a little bit more about awareness of how other people can make you feel. So, and this is very applicable to children at school, by the way. You can be feeling perfectly all right first thing in the morning, and you can, by lunchtime, you can be feeling angry, sad, but you don't know why. Have a look at who you've spent time with, who you've sat next to, who you've stood next to, because as those energy fields blend, the more sensitive your energy is, the more you will pick up the emotions of the person or the people you've been with. And this is very applicable to children, because often you can get a child who's had a really bad morning, perhaps somebody's been cruel to them. They get into school, they're feeling absolutely awful. They sit down next to somebody, maybe your child, and your child starts doing the same thing. Why?
Angry or whatever.
They might feel angry and they don't know why. I'm passionate about having energy awareness taught at school. I'm not making much progress at the moment, but I will. But we all need to be aware of picking up emotional germs from other people. They can be good. A positive person, we catch a good germ, we think, oh, I feel so much better for being with her. But then we have the negative draining germs, and we don't want that. It all comes down to awareness. And awareness of our choices. So what we're aware of, the more we're aware of, the better our choices will be for us as individuals. And a word on choices. The choices you make today create your tomorrow. They create your future. And that's a really important thing, because this was the word control comes up in this webinar a few times. We are in control. We can control our energy. We can control our chakras with a bit of more knowledge. But above all, we have freedom of choice, and therefore we can control our futures. But we need to recognize what's affecting those choices. Is it our upbringing? Is it our culture? Is it our religion? Is it people around us? Is it perception? Is it image? Just be more aware of what's affecting your choices, and you will make better choices for your futures. And it's a continual process.
So, sum up on that one. Are you in the driver's seat or the passenger seat of your life? Think about it. Are you in the driver's seat or the passenger? Who's in control? Well, it should be you. Invariably, in a lot of cases, it isn't. We believe that somebody else has a bit of control over our lives, whether it's parents, kids, whatever it is. But realistically, it should start from you. You're the one that's in control. And then, if you know you're in control, you can probably actually help a lot of other people. But you need to be in control yourself.
And you might think, oh, that's, if I'm in control of my own life and I'm doing things for me and how I feel, that's rather selfish. But it's an underlying factor to all of this energy and chakra talk. At the center of your life is you. Your spirit, your energy came onto this planet for this lifetime. It came in alone. It will go out alone. That's self. That's so important. And we have a responsibility to look after that self on this journey through life. Not to be horrible to other people in the process, but just to be aware that we mustn't be trampled by other people. We mustn't be overwhelmed by other people. We must be aware of what's happening to us energetically and make choices accordingly.
What do they say on an airplane when you go on it? When they do the talk?
Safety talk.
Put your own oxygen mask on first, because you're no good to anyone else if you don't look after yourself in that case. And it's a bit like that. We're not saying being horrible to anyone else. We're just saying put your own oxygen mask on first, know where you are, then you can help so much others. And then your energy system and your energy field will be complete. Then you can help it. Someone else is complete. You can give somebody else that.
But it gives
knowledge,
you,
if you like.
You need the power for you, not over others, but just over your own existence, your own awareness, your own energy, and those control centers, your chakras, which rule your body and your energy. You're in charge of them. So I would encourage you to just do a little bit of research on chakras, just so you understand what's happening to you. So, final question session. Has anybody got any questions that they would like to ask at this point? Because we're going in a minute. So this is
your last chance.
This is your last chance.
Put it in the chat box.
We'd love to hear your voice or hear a chat box question if there are any. Well,
they're all silent.
I think they've either all gone to sleep, or we've answered every question.
All of them.
So I'm going to, again, I have a couple of sample questions, or example questions, not sample, from previous webinars.
And one, we got one.
Oh, we got one.
We are awake. Yeah, that's all right. I'm glad of that, really.
She's put it in capital letters.
Because,
thank you, Sonia. That's very nice.
You're 4 hours in front of us, so I could understand if you got.
I'm looking forward to meeting you, Sonia. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
It'd be lovely. So, sample example questions are: why do some people make us feel good and some people make us feel bad? Now, I know you're not all into speaking, but has anybody got any ideas about that? Why is that? Because we know it's true, and we often don't understand. Has somebody put something in there?
Same here.
No, that's all right. Well, it's back to that diagram Mike just showed you, the two people with the two energy fields. If you're in a really happy, good mood in the morning, you wake up full of positivity, you're looking forward to your day, and you meet somebody who's the opposite, your energy is blending with theirs because you're meeting them physically and energetically. If they're in a bad mood, you're in a good mood. If their energy is stronger than yours, not as sensitive as yours, you're going to catch that not so good feeling. You're going to be infected by it. Or maybe they're draining you. It is a natural process. And as I gave the example of my friend, if that's happening with somebody, don't be afraid. Don't be horrible to them, but don't be afraid just not to see them so often. If somebody makes your heart sing, they're good for you. If they make your heart sink, they're probably not. Doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means you're not compatible. And one final sample question is, somebody asked, is fear an energy? That's a really good question, actually. But all emotions, all thoughts are energy. And therefore, fear is real. It is an energetic impulse that is affecting you physically. I mean, fear, it can make us feel sick. It can make our digestive system go funny. It's real. Don't let anybody tell you it's not real. But because it's an energy, because it's an emotional energy, you can reverse it with thought. You can. You really can. And it pays to think about what you're afraid of. Why am I afraid? What is this fear? And you'll probably find when you get right down into it, there's nothing there that you can't deal with. It's a perception that makes you think that fear rules everything. But yeah, fear is an energy, but it's an energy we don't want in our energy field because it imbalances it and it's not so good. Right. Lovely audience. So thank you for coming. I'll give you one more chance for any questions. No.
Good.
Okay, well, thank you for coming. I hope this has given you some information that is useful. Perhaps we'll meet you, perhaps I'll meet you for a reading, perhaps Mike will meet you for a healing. Maybe you'll come on the mediumship development courses. Who knows?
Talk to Illuminations or just, whatever you want. Or if you want to talk a little bit more, there is this 20-minute sort of...
you can book 20-minute experientials free.
Either of you? No, book a reading.
I think she's talking to me. Sonia, through Illuminations, ask for May. She runs my diary for me. Yeah. So I'd be very pleased to do that for you or for any of you. Fine. Or you can come and have the 20-minute experientials.
And we can talk about that and Sandy will talk about her 20 minutes and what she does, and I will talk the same about how I do my healings. And whatever. Okay.
So we're not inaccessible. So again, enjoy the rest of your evening. I suspect there's not much left, and we're going to go and make dinner now.
Oh yeah, soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Stay safe, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Sona. Thank you, Tom.